Welcome. I hope you find something in this talk that helps you. I realized last night that I'm not an atheist. An atheist is someone who rejects gods, not just God. God is code for the God of Christianity, Jehovah, El, and gods actually refer to much more than that. So, for a long time, I was just rejecting Christianity and thinking that I was an atheist. But no, that just makes me a former Christian. To be an atheist, you have to reject gods, plural, like the whole concept of a god, you have to reject. And I realized last night that I don't know much about Islam, so I can't reject it in the same way that I can reject Christianity. And I don't know much about Judaism, and I don't know much about Hinduism. More importantly, there are ancient religions that used to exist that are female centered religions. They had female gods and they worked in a very different way. And I have been saying recently that you may not like Christianity, but Christianity is a patriarchal, masculine religion. And so you might actually be fond of the female gods and the way feminine religion is done and matriarchal religion is done. Not that they're the exact opposite, they're very different. But maybe you're just rejecting Christianity, but you would have loved the worship of maybe Astarte. So Astarte is one of the major goddesses, and so is Ashera, and so is Artemis. But we don't know much about them because their worship was destroyed. But the little we do know about this kind of worship, it's actually very interesting. But it's further back in time. You're going 30,000 years or even 300,000 years. So the more I learn about a feminine way of doing God, the more interested I get with it, the more comfortable I feel with it. So I really like Taoism. And Taoism is a very masculine religion, but the Tao is feminine, and the Tao is the Great Mother. And when I read about the Tao, I'm in awe. I don't reject that. I'm in awe of it. And when I hear about the first version of female religions, the first era, someone once divided the female god worship into 5 eras. So the first era is actually pretty interesting to me. I kind of like it. So I realized I'm not rejecting gods, plural. I'm just rejecting God. I'm just rejecting the Judeo Christian God, or more specifically, I'm just rejecting Christianity and its God. So, no, I'm not an atheist. I'm just rejecting one particular thing, so that only makes me an ex-Christian, not an atheist. Then there is the thing with being a witch. Because at first, for a while, I've been thinking of that I'm a witch. But the thing with witchcraft is that every single time, and I kid you not, every single time I think about being a witch and then I look it up, and I look up a video about witchcraft, or I read an article about witchcraft, I don't agree with what it says. I don't believe it. I don't follow it. I don't relate to it. If there are 101 ways of being a witch, I don't relate to 100 of them. And the only one that I relate to is the one that says, do your own thing. Which is isolating, and it makes me wonder, is this witchcraft, or am I bringing stuff into the craft that isn't there? For instance, I think that spell jars are weird. You take a glass jar and you put coffee grind in it, and then you put rose petals in it, and then you put crystals in it, and you seal it with wax and you put it on your shelf. The coffee grind is energy, The rose petals are for love, and the crystals are for hope and purifying. So you're trying to give energy to your love life and purify and make it pure. So I don't get that. I personally think witchcraft is strongly and closely related with manifestation and magic and miracles. And I feel like stuff that is all over YouTube, such as vision boards, affirmations, are actually very magical and are very witchy. But I read a blog post about a witch who disagreed. She doesn't think of a vision board as witchy. But I mean, you're sitting there with different methods, with visuals and words, trying to conjure up the future that you want. You're not just saying, God, not my will, but thy will be done. You're saying, no, I demand, I command that my future look like this. You're not bowing before God, you are standing before God, toe to toe, saying, this is what I want, and we're going to work together to make it happen. I kind of feel like that's very much a witch, very powerful, but literally, I'm the only person I've ever seen with this perspective. So, does it matter? Should I fight the good fight and call myself a witch? Or should I just give up and say, okay, fine, all I care about really is manifestation, so I'm a manifester and call it a day? Because when I talk about witchcraft, it's, I just remember I said, like, there are 101 things that involve that about being a witch, and I don't get 100 of them. Those feelings come up, so I don't know. I was thinking maybe it's just a better idea just to say that I'm a manifester and call it a day. Because the community of manifestation is, I look at it and it's perfect. So there's that. And also, what I like about witchcraft is shadow work. I think shadow work is the perfect balance to manifestation. Because the manifestations, you want to be positive and stuff like that, but in shadow work, you get to be negative. You get to look at your pain and your hurt and work through it, heal it, move beyond. If it's raining, you get the umbrella out and you get to work on yourself. That was like a metaphor. A very bad metaphor. So anyway, I'll take shadow work and I'll take manifestation, but there's not much else I would want to take. So yeah, so last night was a very pivotal moment for me, pivotal night. This idea of that I'm not a witch and I'm not an atheist. I'm an ex-Christian. I focus on manifestations and I do shadow work.